take the session on content content delivery and evaluation methodology on online teaching. So I welcome Professor Sarma sir to this session, and I request you to start your session immediately. Thank you.
Okay, good morning. 1 minute. So I have to share the screen, or maybe if the
yes sir, there is share screen is there, sir.
Share screen is there. Share presentation
Yes.
is not there, no? Share screen.
Yes.
Okay. So share screen. So Microsoft PowerPoint.
I think there is a green color button, sir. Yes, sir.
You got this?
Yes, it is visible now, sir.
Okay, so good morning, participants. I think we are all teachers. Most of the participants are from different colleges and institutions. But irrespective of whether you teach in college, university, or any other institutions, or even maybe schools, my presentations will be very preliminary and say it fits for everyone across the disciplines and across the levels of academics where you are. And my request will be you please mute your audio. Video you can unmute if you have so from administration side,
Yes,
you
sir,
can
yeah.
mute it.
That's
good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so then there is no possibility of any disturbances.
Yes.
Okay. So okay. So Dipjyoti and Mr. Kormokar. No? Mr. Kormokar is in administration. So now
Yes.
my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, so let's start. So good morning to all participants. Thank you very much for attending this live lecture. And also I offer my thanks to the organizers, particularly the coordinator, Dept Burman, who happens to be my colleague during our studies. Thank you, organizers, and thank you, the administration in Pandu College, for giving me the opportunity to interact. So this delivery of almost 1 hour lecture will be on content delivery and evaluation methodologies in online teaching. So my discussions will not include anything on what online teaching is or what are the different tools, applications, etc. that normally we use, but my emphasis will be directly on the content delivery. Means a few parameters and few methodologies, methods, or maybe few qualitative aspects of what knowledge we need to know when we deliver the content in an online teaching. And also the second part will be on the evaluation methodologies. What are the different qualitative measures and qualitative aspects we need to consider during evaluation in an online teaching, and the importance of such knowledge and such skill for all of us. We know that post March 19, we have a different world that we didn't encompass, didn't thought of, that all of our students will be in distance, not in the physical classroom. We have been experimenting, we have been experiencing since just almost 3-4 months. And it's the high time that we should discuss those aspects. And it is right time that Pandu College has organized such a deliberation. So when we look at the online teaching, then basically on that this is divided into two broad sections. One is known as synchronous instruction, and other one is known as asynchronous instruction. Most of the students who have been, most of the participants who are from the science background, they know what we mean by synchronous and asynchronous. So, but many of the social science participants might not be familiar with the mean or essence how we mean the synchronous and asynchronous. So it's basically mean the time. The synchronous instruction means both the sides are synchronizing in real time. So both the sides means with the teachers and the students. So when the teachers and students are in the real time, that means we are really online. That means what is delivering as content as part of the teaching is being delivered and being received by the students in real time. So this is known as synchronous instruction, and it includes the live, then traditional coursework as closely as the online class can handle. And we normally, the instructors, we adopt different tools and online instruction methods like what we are using now, Zoom, etc. So whatever support real-time learning and discussions. So maybe streaming of videos, then live chats individually or course-wise, maybe live chat in between student and the teacher individually, or teacher and a group of students, or maybe a group of instructors and students. Then different web conferencing tools like Zoom, Google Meet, etc. And then telephone availability means real-time discussions on conferencing, telephone calls, etc. And also it includes the virtual office hours, that I am here at office online from 11 to 12. That is a schedule that is given, and students will be at the other end. So you are synchronizing your time and the students' time, and virtually you are meeting. So maybe it may not be always with the audio and video. It may be also through email, chats, and maybe discussion forums, etc. So virtual office hours, you schedule the office hours, you schedule the class hour. So this is the synchronous instructions. And also we have the other kind of instruction. This is the asynchronous instructions. In asynchronous instructions, you put all the materials, you put all the contents and all the deliverables in an accessible platform, and the students, they need not to be online in a real time. So asynchronously, they can have access to everything. That means whatever content you have, you put in a server, you put in email, you put in a repository, you put in Google Doc, you put somewhere where you can put, maybe you can circulate an email with an attached audio file or video file, or even maybe a PDF, and the students, they can access their email at any time. So asynchronous instructions, you are providing the content, and it's now her choice when she will log in and she will look at. So these include the downloadable pre-recorded lectures. You lecture and you record for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even you circulate in WhatsApp, and whenever she receives, she looks at her WhatsApp, and she hears and looks at the video lecture. Then maybe the PowerPoint presentations with voiceover or without voiceover. So forums and discussions boards, you put in the discussion board and forums your comments or your notes, etc., and let the students access those in any other time. Then email communication and webcasting. In the website, you put the video and they will log in, and whenever they log in, they can get access. Then different drives like Google Drive and similar other collaborative tools, and also different tools for offer support like virtual tutoring centers. There are many free virtual tutoring centers where you can put all those materials. Like one very easily accessible is easyclass.com. You can look at the easyclass.com. So virtual tutoring centers, you can put anything, and students can log in at any time and they can access. So these are virtual resource centers. So these are the broad categorizations of contents delivery through synchronous instruction and also through asynchronous instructions. And we all know that widely used online teaching contents, lectures, maybe audio lectures, video lectures, or the blended lectures. Then files, different files. It may be the Word file, doc file, it may be PDFs, it may be multimedia files, it may be your say, pictures or different videos, discussions. So this is another very widely used say content delivery. When you put discussion in a forum. It's almost all the websites, even your college websites or university websites also, we have discussions. Means you put comment and someone else again put comments. You put some question and the others start giving answers. You put again comments on those. So it's a continuous discussions. Then demonstrations, you demonstrate mostly in science and other subjects where methods are to be demonstrated. It may be in social science subjects also, like anthropology, even in history, archaeology, even in education. So you need to have demonstrations. So you demonstrate something and then the students look at. Simulations mostly in statistics, in computer science, even in mathematics. So you don't have access to the actual situation, but you simulate with software. And then games, serious games. So mostly in computer science, artificial intelligence, even in physics, chemistry, even in mathematics, through you deliver through games, means you teach through games. And obviously case studies are very frequently used methods of content delivery, means teaching in across the disciplines, problem-based projects and guided designs. So we'll look at category wise. So these are different teaching contents that we normally deliver to the students. Now, these are classified. Expositive methods, you have presentations, your case studies, your worked out examples and demonstrations. These are classified as expositive methods. You expose something. And then the application methods, demonstrations and practice methods. So you demonstrate and then the students practice. Job aids. Job aids are, you give some questionnaire, you give some checklist, and then the students they practice, they use it for their learning. So you give some aids for performing some jobs. Then case-based exercises, you give a case and the students will do some exercise. So participatory. There are applications. Role plays, you form a group, and then you assign roles to different members of the group and let them do that. So different individual student has to play a different role. Maybe someone will do the literature review, someone will do the exercise, someone will compile something, someone will do the problem solving. So in a problem, you assign different roles and let the students play the role. Then simulations and serious games, I discussed already. Guided research, you guide, keep on guiding in say maybe alternate day, maybe once in every week, and maybe through what you expect from them in writing, give them, let them give, and then give your feedback. And also project work, you give the assignment, let the student do in 15 days or 30 days. So these are classified as application methods. And also the third one is the collaborative methods. So in collaborative methods, online guided discussions. That means you initiate a discussion, and that discussion may be through a thread of email. You put an email to 50 students, all the 50 students, you put an email that this is the problem or this is the discussion topic. They will keep on adding comments. Then in between you interfere. That means you suggest, okay, this is the right way, this is the wrong way, you could have done this. So you keep on guiding and let them discuss. Not necessarily in email. It can be in WhatsApp. It can be in discussion forums. It can be in blogs. Then collaborative work. In collaborative work, you put few of the students in a group and let them collaborate. It is more useful when you give them case studies, when you give them a project work. And also peer tutoring is very essential nowadays. Peer tutoring is, see, you have a set of 25 students. Out of 25 students, the best student you could maybe 1, 2, or 3 best students, you could easily identify. They can digest everything that you deliver. They can have access to everything with their state-of-the-art access mechanism. They have good bandwidth, so they don't have any problem, and they are well advanced in digesting the entire content. So now you can use them for tutoring to others. So this is more effective in online guided discussions and also demonstration practice method. So if you have few students who are a little bit ahead in digesting the content, then you can form groups where you put them, and one of the best students you put in one small group. Now she can guide, or she can tutor, she can help the others who are a little bit behind the schedule, who are a little bit behind in terms of maybe digesting the content, understanding the content, etc. So this is the classification of instruction contents. Now let us discuss a little bit in detail. So expositive methods like presentations, case studies, worked-out examples, and demonstrations, they are used to facilitate knowledge acquisition. So mainly conceptual and factual knowledge. Why? Because these are through some materials that you deliver to them. You deliver presentations, you deliver some case studies, you deliver some worked-out examples, you deliver some demonstrations. So you are facilitating knowledge acquisition to the students. So the students mainly, they will be familiar with the conceptual and factual knowledge, then orientation. They will be motivated by looking at the materials, and they will have an attitudinal sense in their mind just looking at and while going through all those materials. Delivery formats may be simple learning resources, documents and PPT presentations, PDFs, work files, maybe pictures, maybe PPT presentations with voice, without voice, etc. And interactive e-learning lessons like whatever we are using, Zoom, or maybe if it is a smaller group, then you interact, you give them chance to ask questions in webcasting. So video lessons and podcasts. Video lessons, podcasts are audio, and there are free podcasting softwares also where you can put audios, and webinars where you lecture for 1 hour, and then at the end allow them to raise their hand, ask them to put some questions, and then you answer. And also virtual classroom. So this is about expositive methods. In application methods, demonstration and practice methods, you develop some procedural skills, what they need to do. You demonstrate, and now you ask them what they need to do. They need to develop some procedural skill. They need to do this. You don't do everything. You only demonstrate. Ask them to do. So these are combination of some animations and operational. It may not be feasible in all the cases. So in virtual classroom, you may ask them, okay, I do this part and you do this part. So you not necessarily demonstrations only in case of science or technological courses. Even you can demonstrate in humanities and social science. You do something. You write 5 points and then ask them to add 5 more points. You demonstrate something and let them develop their skill of analysis. So they will analyze and they will add the points. So you do it halfway and let the student do the other part. So that may be also a demonstration and practice method. Then job aids. You provide just in-time information and guidance. You provide a checklist. You provide a printed document like technical glossaries or templates, etc. And let them ask you what they do not understand. Let them do, let say they answer and you give them checklist. Let them check whether all the points are covered or not. So suppose you ask them to write 10 sentences about Assam. So for simplicity, then 10 sentences about Assam, and you prepare a checklist whether the following words are written in the answer: Brahmaputra, Shankardev, maybe Kamakhya, maybe religious and communal harmony, maybe the hills and greeneries. So 5 key words, key phrases you are giving. So that is a checklist. And now when 10 sentences are written about Assam by 10 students, then give them the checklist in time. Let them check whether those words are there in the 10 sentences or not, and accordingly you evaluate. So a simple job aid. So you can use that. Then case-based exercises are used to develop job-specific cognitive skills. So a particular domain-specific, a particular job-specific, a particular content-specific cognitive skills, they will develop the skill to think critically. How? Through interactive e-learning sessions, through electronic simulation-based scenarios, individual tutoring activity. You are tutoring individually to 1 student or 2 students, and also through online group activities. So this particular method will have involvement of the students. They need to simulate. They need to work out the example. They need to talk to you and give their feedback, etc. So individually, she is interacting with you, and also online group activities. 5 students in a group, and they are doing activity. You have given different assignments. So participatory. Then role plays. They have to participate different roles that you have assigned. This is used to develop interpersonal skills because you have assigned them role. And now when you assign a student a role, she has to perform it. When she has to perform it, it becomes a challenge for her. So when she gets the challenge, now against the challenge, she has to perform. So it will develop the skill inside her that is known as the interpersonal skill. And it will definitely stimulate attitudinal sense, maybe the behavioral sense, maybe the adaptivity in a group, maybe how to listen to others, maybe how to say something in a soft way. So this could be implemented through interactive e-learning lessons, also through simulations, and also through online group activities. We have application methods where simulations and serious games are the contents, and this is used to develop deep understanding of complex systems. When you do not have access to the system, then you simulate. When you do not have access to do the actual experiment, you do some gaming, and those are used to develop the deeper understanding of the complex system. So not necessarily it happens only in case of you could use this methodology to deliver content in science, engineering, etc., but also in humanities. You suppose you are teaching about the Mughal architecture, so you cannot take them to all those Taj Mahal, Lal Qilla, and others. If you teach them to Ahom era architecture, you cannot take them to Saraidev, Shivsagar, or other parts. But what you can do is you can simulate the situations, maybe using pictures, maybe using 3D videos of Ranghar, Karanghar, and you can teach them. So this way is to develop the deeper understanding of the system, and not necessarily you have to have a field trip to the historical places. You can do it with simulations. Not necessarily you can take them to a boat ride to understand the geomorphology and aquatic biodiversity of Brahmaputra, but you can do it through simulations if you have the, say, maybe a video format or something like that. And through this, they expose themselves to the situation. The situation may not be the practically the actual situation, but a simulated or a gamified situation, which may be a video, which may be a simulation software, which may be a games developed. Then guided research, through which you can you can make the students familiar with active knowledge construction, how to construct knowledge. You guide them, let them explore something. You ask them to explore, and then you guide, through which active knowledge construction, how they construct knowledges. So that could be done. This could be done through discussion forums. This could be done through email. Remember, email should be email thread, not discrete emails. Email should be email thread. One particular topic, one email, reply in the email, reply in the email, reply in the email. Then chatting, audio and video conferencing, different wikis are there, different blog sites are there, and also shared documents are there, where you can share documents with Google Doc, you can share, you can write, your students can write. Again, you can write, again, your students can write. So guided research, and obviously the project works. Active knowledge construction is done also through project works, and similarly guided research, you can adopt, you can give project work as part of the total content of your course delivery. Then comes the collaborative methods. In collaborative methods, online guided discussions, collaborative work, and peer tutoring are done by different methodologies for different purposes. Like online guided discussions are to stimulate critical thinking and reflections, because online guided discussions, when you adopt, you initiate a topic, then the students, they start discussing. Discussing means how they will discuss. They will write their opinion, maybe in a WhatsApp. Normally what we do in our groups, someone initiates a topic, and for the whole day, all the members in the group, they used to give their critical thoughts, and also their analysis, maybe comments, everything. So it stimulates critical thinking and reflection, because you are exposed to a lot many comments, you are exposed to a lot many analysis. It's not only that you are discussing with your friend or your teacher, but it's an online guided discussion where your teacher is guiding. That means when you are guiding to the students, sometimes you intervene, and the students, they're putting their comments, they're putting their thinkings, and gradually this will stimulate their critical thinking capacity, and this will reflect their thoughts, this will reflect their understanding, this will also reflect their level of say cognitive capacity, and this definitely facilitates communications among learners. So if someone is shy in communicating to say fellow friends, then this will facilitate communications among them. So they will start communicating with each other, they will start befriending with each other, and this will develop definitely interpersonal skills, because when it facilitates communication, it develops interpersonal skills. Your students will be able to write content, your students will able to say no to something, your students will able to will be able to develop skill to appreciate something. So the attitudinal sense also it adds. So it could be through discussion forums, emails, chat, audio and video conferences. Another type of collaborative method is the collaborative work, which stimulates critical thinking and reflection, also develop the problem solving skills, because when you collaborate work and you have a role to play, you have some assignments, then now it becomes your challenge. So when the student gets the challenge, Now the student has to develop the solving skill. So it will develop the problem solving skills ultimately. If she doesn't, if she is not familiar, she will take help from someone, she will ask someone. So through this, she will also develop interpersonal skills. So she will also develop, maybe she will start changing her attitude. Okay, earlier she was not she was not befriending with students. Now she has 5 more students in her group. Now she comes to know how beneficial it is to talk to her fellow friends, and how to listen to others, how to help others. So she may have to sense her attitude also. So it will stimulate all those things. And also peer tutoring that I have discussed already. So it stimulates critical thinking and reflection. It will develop interpersonal skill. It will develop your sense. It will facilitate changing your attitude. So peer tutoring it could be facilitated by instructor. If you facilitate peer tutoring, okay, এইটো কোনোবা এজন ষ্টুডেণ্টে ক'লে বাইদেউ মই এইটো বুজি পোৱা নাই, then you can immediately refer her, okay, তুমি অমুকক সুধি লোৱাচোন. So a very normal, a very simple process, but that kind of peer tutoring will facilitate befriending, interpersonal skills, and that will also stimulate someone more, you can say, courage. Okay, I know this, so I can teach this. And someone else also to ask for something. Moi tu najanu belegok khuduson. So peer tutoring is very effective in content delivery. Those things are also could be classified in 2 different ways in terms of the content delivery methodology. One is the self-paced e-learning, and the other one is the guided instruction. So in self-paced e-learning, you don't put a schedule. You put everything. You put all the contents, all the resources, and now the courseworks and resources contents could be accessed by the students at any time. So they're free to learn at their own pace. One student learns 1 chapter in a day, other student may learn 2 chapters in a day. So it depends on the learner's capacity. It depends on the learner's availability. It depends on the learner's resources. So learners are free to learn at their own pace. So this is self-paced e-learning. So in self-paced e-learning, mostly you have to have the asynchronous content delivery. You cannot have synchronous content delivery, because in synchronous content delivery, you are synchronizing time with the set of students. So you cannot put everything at this moment. But in asynchronous content delivery, what you can do is you can put everything. You can put 10 mails, 10 emails with 10 files today itself, and let the student access at their own pace, with their own capacity, with their own free time, etc. So content is facilitated. Content is facilitated to the group of students, and now they are free to adopt their self-paced journey to learn. The next one is the instructor-led and facilitated e-learning, which is the synchronous. That could be asynchronous also when you put a schedule, but normally it is the synchronous. So you are leading and you are facilitating the e-learning. That means I'm delivering the content right now through a live session. I am saying that tomorrow I will take a test. I am giving a content today in the online learning platform, and I ask the students, you complete this within 2 days. Then on the 3rd day, I will give 1 more chapter. So content for the individual study is integrated in a timely manner and in a schedule. And the pace is a fixed. Pace is designed and devised by the instructor. So students cannot have their own pace. So students need to be in a schedule. Students need to follow, otherwise they will fail to avail all the instructions. So it's like synchronizing your schedule with the student's schedule. There are platforms where asynchronous content delivery could be also in case of instructor-led and facilitated e-learning, but these require the sophisticated e-learning platform. There are sophisticated e-learning platform where you deliver a web lecture. You deliver 2 web lectures. One you schedule to be live casted today at 5 p.m. and the second file will be live casted tomorrow at 5 p.m. You can schedule that. So asynchronous, but instructor-led. So asynchronous but instructor-led e-learning, you have to have sophisticated e-learning platforms. For all those content delivery, when you look at that, whether my content delivery will be effective or not, there are few parameters that always you need to look at, always you need to consider for effective online content delivery. You should show that you are present. That means you are present through the teaching learning process. The students should know that you are present. Students should feel that you are present. You are present through what? You are present through some live lectures. You are present through discussion boards. That means students will always feel that my instructor is monitoring me. My instructor knows what I am doing. So my instructor is constantly engaged with us. So the students should know. So your presence is very much important. Through discussion boards, maybe in a discussion board, the students are discussing, and sometimes in between, you put a comment, you put some suggestions. Sometimes in a day, or maybe alternate day, you put an email. Students, hope you are all familiar with this one. Tomorrow my class will be at this. Last class, if you have doubts, you please feel free to ask me. So a constant communication through emails and through announcements. Okay, next Tuesday I will take a test. I will give you, tomorrow I will give you a PDF file where you will get all those things. So constant announcements, and through forums, maybe discussion forum, maybe a WhatsApp forum, maybe an email forum. So you put on commenting, put on giving your presence. So for effective online content delivery, your presence is very much important. So be present. Then next is set the expectations. You always ask the students to follow something. You always let the students know that you are expecting something, like due dates for assessment. Okay, I will give you tomorrow assessments, and those assessments you have to submit next Tuesday. So you need to communicate very frequently. So your say online participations, you require of them. Say how often they need to participate. What are the different behavior and conduct that they have to follow? What is your expectation? You don't, you put your videos mute, you put your audios mute. So that is the behavior that you expect. You ask them that you show your video. While taking the assignment, while writing the assignment, you ask them, you show me the video. So that may be a conduct or behavior that you fix, you expect. So you set the expectation so that they know, the students know that these are your expectations and they need to meet those expectations. Then they will be cautious. Let the students do the work. Ask them to find and discuss resources. Not everything is done by you. It should be participatory. For effective content delivery, it's not only that you are delivering the content, but through delivering the content, it should stimulate some participation from the students also. Let the students do some work. Let them find and discuss resources. You are discussing something on architecture of Ahom era, let them find what are the different architectures that are with those characteristics of parameter. So you ask them to find 10 papers on this particular biodiversity of Brahmaputra. So you ask them also to discuss. So let there be participation. Let the students do some of the work. Then next is you nurture a supportive online community. You facilitate a WhatsApp group. You facilitate an online forum. You facilitate a email community so that they participate. And one other important point that you need to always keep in mind that you please think before you write, because in online content you are putting in public forum. When you are putting in public forum, your public forum may be 50 students, your public forum may be a discussion forum which is open in the internet. So you need to craft well thought out responses and post to others. You don't do haphazardly, because responses and assignments and other evaluations could be visualized by others. So the best tone to use is a very simple, clear, and polite one. Don't use any abusive words. Don't use anything that may hurt any community or any religion. So very simple, clear, and polite, and well thought of responses. Also, you ask for feedbacks. Primarily in the second and third week, you can ask feedback so that you could start purifying your contents and delivery methodologies. You also need to foster personal care for each student. You ask them, what are your problems? Anybody having bandwidth problem? So how could you see my video? So you need to foster a kind of personal care so that they feel comfortable. Make use of group and individual projects so that they are binding together and they know each other, because in a classroom we are simulating a physical classroom in an online. So when you deliver the content through that, you have to also simulate the entire class. So you have to say create an environment that they are in a group. So you put projects in individual as well as in group format. Use resources that are readily available. Don't ask them to download something which is okay, you download this very big file from YouTube. No, they may not know how to download a file from YouTube, but they know how to look at the YouTube. They know maybe the Assam Tribune. They may not know how to create a profile and look at the New York Times. So you use resources that are readily available and easily accessible. And always have a closing activity. That means when at the end of semester, you are closing, you are ending the 30 or 40 hours of lectures, always you arrange a closing activity, maybe a final summary, or maybe on final assessments, maybe say informal get together over your online platform. So let us quickly go to evaluation, learning analytics, and Dipjyoti. How long we will continue? 11:40?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
11:40 around.
Yes, sir.
Maybe around 20 more minutes. So evaluation. So this is one challenge. Evaluation is really very much challenge. But I tell you, your simple thinking, a very simple thinking of yours can make it very easy. You always consider that evaluation is evaluation. There is no difference between evaluation in classroom and evaluation in online platform. You consider that, forget about anything that you conceptualized, that I need to know something more, how I evaluate in online learning. So evaluation is evaluation. You keep that in mind and it will be easier. But yes, obviously there will be challenges in delivering the questions and getting the responses. The methodologies that you will follow, there will be criticality. There will be possibility of doing something unwanted by your group of students. But you first consider the simple thing that evaluation is evaluation, and then the methodology, let us discuss. So evaluation is, you have to monitor their progress and also their behaviors. Behavior means not their what behavior, not their human behavior, but behavior in following the course. What is their behavior? Means how frequently they are attending, how frequently they are interacting. So what is the behavior of their engagement in the online teaching learning that you are adopting? So you need to monitor their progress and you need to monitor their behaviors during the online trajectory. And important data for learning analytics, you have, this is known as learning analytics. You collect data and you analyze how often students are logging in. So whether they are logging in every day, how often they are logging in before you start the class, how many days out of 10 classes they are late, how many days in your 10 content delivery they are in time, how many days they are present, how many days maybe they got problem in bandwidth, how much time they spend on each task, in giving you assignments, how frequently they interact in the discussion forums, how well they master the material. So whether they could give you, whether they ask you question, whether they ask you to clarify something. So these are the different parameters through which you monitor their progress and you try to know their behaviors. Such tracking can be very valuable because learning analytics helps you, the instructors, quickly identify areas of concern. Areas of concern for what? Whether you are in the same, you are in the good pace, whether you are delivering very speedily, whether you are delivering complex things, whether your students could not follow your language, whether you are giving very precisely, you need to elaborate. So your learning analytics means gathering the data against different parameters from students will make you will make you understanding what are the different lines of actions that you need to take for improving your content delivery. You can adjust your teaching methods now because you know the feedbacks. You can adjust the level of course materials, and even you can redefine the objectives accordingly. You put an very high objectives, learning outcomes at the end of 30 lectures, end of the course. Now you could understand, no, the students will not be able to digest all those things. They will not be able to understand everything that I put or I planned. So you have to redefine your objectives. You have to redefine the level of teaching. And also, the instructor new to online means for the first time you are adopting online instruction. You will be benefited from such analysis, from such feedback to make instruction more effective because you earlier didn't know how to deliver. So from students' feedback, by monitoring the progress and behaviors of them, you also know now, since you are new to the online instruction, online teaching, so you now know how your instructions could be made more effective. Then different question types and their characteristics. You cannot ask them, you cannot give them a question paper of 20 questions and ask them to write in 1 day or 3 hours, then take the photograph and give it back. That is not the only way that is not the only methodology, or that is not the effective methodology in terms of online teaching learning, because you cannot monitor individually every student. You cannot make them sit in a room and evaluate at the end of online class. Or even you cannot ask them, okay, you put the video on sit on your table, cover the video and write, and after 3 hours you give me the answer script by, say, scanning. You cannot ask them. In between, the link may fail. So then the student will tell you, no, I could not show you, madam, the video because the link was failed, but I was writing. You don't know whether she was writing on her own or she took help from other resources. So it's not possible. So you have to adopt a different methodology for evaluating. But evaluation is evaluation. You have to evaluate whether they know. You have to know their progress through continuous evaluation. So how you will do that? There are different types of questions that you can use, true or false type. Easy to create, but the answer is not created by the learner. See, the major obstacle is the answer is created by the teacher. Answer is only selected by the learner. So answer is not created by learner. Then multiple choice, very flexible, can be used for several purposes, can differentiate feedback for each option, but still, problem is difficult to create because you have to have a large pool of multiple choice questions. And also in this case also, the answer is not created by the learner. Answer is created by you. The question is created by you, answer is also created by you. They only need to select. Then multiple responses. Here also, see, multiple choice and multiple responses are different. Multiple choice, 1 out of 4. Multiple responses, many out of many. Which of the following are correct? Which of the following are relevant to this? Which of the following are not relevant to this? Which of the following are in, which of the following countries are in Asia continent? So multiple responses. So yes, difficult to create. And also the problem is answer is not created by the learner. Answer is also created by teacher. Matching, very easy to create. Say it may be too easy because once you go through at the end, you have few options, so you can easily match at the end. If you have total 10, then out of up to 7 it will be tough. Then after that it will be easier. But answer is still created by the learner. So ordering, the answer is not created by the learner in ordering. In ordering, the answer is not created by learner. In matching also, the answer is not created by learner. Fill in the blanks. In fill in the blanks, the problem will be, sometimes what happens, your answer may be appropriate, more appropriate, most appropriate, etc. Answer may be different. It not necessarily that it will be a word or phrase. So there will be qualitative judgments. So a little bit difficult to measure, but here the answer is created by the student. And the most effective is the short answer or short essay type, where the answer will have to be created by the learner. Difficult to measure, of course, because qualitative evaluation. The answer is created by learner, so it facilitates the actual teaching learning. What you taught, whether the students understood, whether the students developed the skill to analyze, so you could now evaluate with short answers and short essay types. There are different tips for developing questions. Practice questions should be created for all critical topics or tasks. So while framing the content, so few practice questions you should create. When you create the topics, when you create the tasks, that then assignments, etc. When you create the study materials, you also create the practice questions. The text of the questions must be clear and unambiguous as possible, so that there could not be two responses. One student understand this way, other student understood in different way. It should not be. Incorrect options should be plausible, and obviously wrong option does not play any useful role and decreases the learner's interest. So, and you should not put an obviously wrong. You should put the critically right and critically wrong. Obviously wrong answer will not reflect your standard of learning, teaching. So you should avoid those. And you should also avoid incorrect options, should aim not to distract learners, so that you should avoid so that incorrect answers do not distract the learners. But incorrect answers should be so that they have some ability to to generate critical thinking within the learners. So within the learners, your incorrect option also should facilitate critical thinking. It may not be why it is not correct, why it is correct. So a sort of critical thinking. They will start analyzing. Is it correct? If it is correct, then what happens? Okay, if it is correct, it happens. So no, it is not correct. So that will facilitate some sort of critical thinking within the student. So your question should provide textual responses for each option of about the same length. One is one word, one is one sentence. It should not be. You should avoid those. It should provide explanatory feedback after the learner responds to the questions. So whether the answer is correct or incorrect with sufficient explanation. Means when you develop your content, in the content, when you give them answers, etc. So why it is correct, why it is not correct. I will discuss in mark stream later on. So when you assess the learners through all those questions, etc., you assess at different level. The very first level is the prerequisite test, whether you need some prerequisite in the learners to follow your lecture. So you may ask them to sit for a test. So this is normally happens when you need to allot students to your course, when you need to give admission to your course. That means, okay, next semester I am floating this course, and to have access to this course, you have to know calculus. So then I will ask them to sit for a test for calculus. So that is prerequisite test. Then pre-assessment test. Pre-assessment test is it is also used to assess a learner's knowledge and before beginning the course in order to personalize learning activities. That means, see, the difference between prerequisite and pre-assessment is prerequisite is whether whether you have knowledge to be enrolled in my course. Pre-assessment is what level I will adopt to teach different sets of students. That means I will assess the levels of students. 5 students, maybe at the higher level of knowledge. So I will give them different assignments. I will give them different projects. 5 students are very novice in learning. 5 students are very unskilled in learning. So I may put a lower grade assignments, or maybe a smaller projects, or maybe a lesser complicated projects. So pre-assessment test. And then diagnostic tests. This is used to assess the achievements of 1 unit. I deliver 3 lectures in 1 unit. Then I assess the achievement of my learners. And post-assessment. Post-assessment is used to assess the achievement of the course, the complete course learning objectives. What are the learning objectives I already fixed during the initial days of my course delivery, of my content delivery? I fixed those learning objectives, and now after completion of the entire course, maybe 25 lectures or maybe 7 days workshop lectures. So my workshop was to with those objectives. The participants should know all those things. Then post workshop, I'll conduct a post assessment test. And also at the end of the course, or at the end of the workshop, or maybe conference, or maybe training, a certification test to grade them, whether they will pass or fail, or A grade, B grade, whether they will achieve the certificate or not, like that. So these are the different levels of assessments. Then evaluation ways and techniques. One is online group collaboration projects with feedback. You form an online group and then let them collaborate, have the feedbacks. So ask the online learners to divide into groups and assign them different topics, give them goal. You quantify different parameters. Okay, these are the parameters you need to achieve, and based on that, you will grade them. You fix a schedule, you prefix the schedule, you have to achieve. If you do not achieve, you will not get marks or disgrade. You could, if you achieve, you will get this. If you be 1 day late, you will get this grade. If you give 2 days late, then you will get this grade. Then peer evaluation. Ask them to evaluate within themselves. Ask them who has contributed more, who has contributed maximum in your group. Let them tell, okay, Miss X has contributed more. Okay, she should get the highest grade. Peer evaluation. Then open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are, these are simple and straightforward qualitative assessment methods. Why? Because open-ended questions do not have a particular answer for a particular question. It's not like that, when did Shankardeva born? It's like, what are the critical thoughts that the Shankardeva has given? So open-ended. You may write 1 page, I may write 100 pages. I may write 1 page different, she may write 1 page different. So open-ended questions. In open-ended questions, you have to be open-ended. You have to be open-ended. It's not that you cannot compare. You cannot compare that her writing is very good and her writing is in comparison to her writing, this is better, or this is a little bit inferior. An answer may get 10 out of 10. A different answer, completely different answer, may also get 10 out of 10. So open-ended questions, critical thoughts and analysis, etc., are expected as the answers. So this will foster the creative freedom. No right or wrong answers here. They must reflect on the topic and draw their own conclusions and analysis. Obviously challenging to grade, but you have to be open-minded. You can develop a rubric in advance, like I said, that ask them to write an essay on Assam, and then a rubric maybe, these are the 10 words that should be there in the essay. Then based on that, you give marks. Problem-solving case studies, it turns online learners into detectives. How the problem is to be solved. They will explore many things. So they will be turned into detectives. So they have to dig different things to solve the problems. They will ask someone how to solve the problem. They will dig the internet. They will look at books and references, etc. So this starts with case study or real world examples. Online learners will brainstorm within themselves and also by them. So e-learning blocks is another way which will encourage your online learners, the set of learners, to set up e-learning blog. Means if you encourage them, there are different free blog sites like blogspot.com. So you encourage them to set up e-learning blogs on a topic, and then ask them to keep on posting their comments, keep on discussing, etc., keep on writing their feelings, keep on writing their knowledge, etc. And then you silently monitor. You can go, sometimes you can put your comments, sometimes you create an online tutorial, maybe 1 paragraph you write and put in the blog and ask them to create their own comments or lines of thoughts, etc. And silently you keep on following them and keep on analyzing what are their performances. Then online interviews in another way, another tool. So face-to-face interviews are not possible in e-learning. So you can still conduct. How? You can conduct interviews with the help of video conferencing tool, maybe WhatsApp, maybe a FaceTime if you are using the iPhone, maybe Zoom, maybe Google Meet. So it may be a group to you, or it may be you and the student. So this is usually more feasible for smaller groups. It may not be feasible for a group of students of 100 participants, but it may be feasible if you have 30 students or 25 students. You prepare a list of questions, and you prepare also a schedule for online interviews and ask them to be online for 5 minutes, maybe for 3 minutes, put them questions, put a rubric, and evaluate them. So forums and online discussions are also ways to know. I discussed already. How to design rubrics. So I talked about rubrics. Many of you may be familiar with rubrics. So rubrics is nothing but a matrix or a list of parameters through which means you judge something. So for open-ended questions in eLearning, you have to design a rubric. So match each open-ended questions with a learning objectives. So what is the objective of this question? You match that one. So this is the learning objective. For this learning objective, this is the open-ended question. Then you determine the learning goal for each open-ended question. So what should they learn for this question? What should they know? Because you are the teacher, you know that against this question, they should know this. So they know this, and I will ask this question. So you are determining the learning goal for each open-ended question. And then you create a sample response. Like I told you that 10 words about Assam. And if then 10 keywords, if they write, then I will consider that this is a good essay. If all those 10 words are there in the essay, maybe you are giving highest grade. If 5 words are there, you can judge that, okay, this is a little bit better. So like that, you can quantify. So you can create a sample response against your open-ended question and divide the answer into distinct sections. So this should be first part, this should be second part, this should be, or these are the 4 parts that should be there in the answer. Then assign points value for each section. So if this is written, I will give 1 mark. If this is written, I will give 1 mark. If this is written, I will give 1 mark. If these 2 points are included, I will give 2 marks. If this, out of those 6 points, if 3 points are, at least 3 points are included in the answer, I will give 3 points, maximum marks. So like that, you assign points. And make online learners aware of the grading criteria. That means a mark scheme. So if you look at the Cambridge University, Cambridge International Examination pattern, you will get to know mark scheme, what a mark scheme is. A mark scheme is a scheme where you will write already, in advance you will write that this is the question, and if the answer contains 3 points out of following 6 points, then maximum marks 3 will be awarded. So like that, if you have a mark scheme, then it can justify why you are giving this mark or why you are giving that mark. And at the end, I started with that you consider evaluation as evaluation. So you use what you are already know. What you already know, you use that. Not necessarily for evaluation, you should know something else. Evaluation is always evaluation. Only thing is that the methodology is different. So you avoid your thought, online learning evaluation is a different universe. No, online learning evaluation is also evaluation, and it is the evaluation. Only the methodology is different. Then seek value and meaning. In seeking value and meaning, you avoid evaluation as judgment. You do not judge the answer, but you take evaluation literally, what they have written. You don't judge. You don't put your own intuition. You only take or consider evaluation as literary. That means this is the question, this is the answer. There may be 2 best answers. You cannot put one best answer. You cannot say that this is the best answer, so this is another answer. This is not similar to the other that I have given 10. So you may give 10 marks out of 10 to 2 different answers which are different in writing style. So take evaluation literally, don't judge. Evaluation is an important part of a bigger picture. You avoid thinking that evaluation as an episode, evaluation as autopsy. That means they have understood everything, now you evaluate. No. Your alternative is you integrate evaluation into the ongoing practice. That means you throughout the journey, you keep on evaluating them. You evaluate them progressively. You delivered a part of the contents, evaluate them, ask them to write something and post it in the discussion forum. You ask them to be in the discussion forum tomorrow for 3 hours and write them comments. So it's not an autopsy, it's not at the end of the episode, but you need to integrate evaluation continuously into the ongoing practice. That means throughout the journey of delivery of your content. Then products and results are important. Process is important too. Not only the products and results, not only the result may be wrong sometimes. When at the end of the mathematics, someone divides 200 by 5 and write the answer as 20 somehow, but that was the end of a one-page mathematics, and you are giving 0 out of 6, that should not be. Products and results are important, obviously, but the process is also important. In the entire process of answering one-page mathematics, she only committed a mistake at the end while very hurriedly she divided 200 by 5 and put 20 instead of 40, but that should not mark her for a 0 mark. So process is also important. She adopted a process. At the end, she wrote the conclusion, which if you are putting a judgmental view, you feel that that is wrong, but her 2 pages comments on the Ahom era architecture is an analysis of everything that actually she knew or she knows. So you have to follow that practice, that your process is important. To evaluate process as well as products, not only the final comment. Then making it better is the ultimate aim. That means if you are in a comparison trap, you will find out of 10 that one best answer you are giving 10 and others are not best answers, you are giving 7, 8, 5. You are in a comparison trap. Avoid that. Don't be in a comparison trap. Your ultimate aim is to make things better. Someone is making things best, that is also better than something. Someone can also make better. So there may be 10 answers that you can give 10 marks each. You cannot have only one best answer that you are giving after evaluation 10 marks out of 10. Then you will be in a comparison trap. You don't compare every answers. You only look at whether this is a better option, better answer, this is also a better answer, this is also a better answer. And the subjectivity of betterness, and the qualitative betterness, and the amount of betterness, you judge and you give marks. So I think that's all, and that should be a fair amount of time that I devoted. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. You may reach me at sks@gauhati.ac.in if you feel. Many of you might be known to me. I also may know you, but many of you may also feel that these are all known to us. Why it is required to be lectured in a workshop? That workshop is for everyone. It's not for someone. So even if 10% of the participants could follow and they are benefited and they feel that this lecture is something new, then it creates a happiness to the organizer, and it facilitates a fruitfulness. Don't feel that you knew everything and I lectured. You may know, but since you are part of a group, you should think of the others in the group. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shikhar. Thank you very much. Actually, it is a very effective and informative lecture. So I personally thank you very much for this session. So now this session is for some time. I'll open for the participants for interaction. Is it?
Yes, sir. I have unmuted all of the participants. They may unmute themselves and ask the question.
So the session is now open for the participants for some time. So you may ask, interact with Professor Shikhar Sarma, sir.
Hello. Hello, sir.
Yes.
I am Dr. Shahidul Islam Jadid.
Yes, Dr. Saidul.
Sir, I have a question to Sarma, sir.
Keep on speaking. Keep on speaking.
Yes, sir. Regarding evaluation, you told that actually it is somehow it is subjective, sir.
Last part is subjective. That when you ask them for short questions answers, then it will be subjective. Yeah.
Okay, sir. But it may not be applied in the objective type question and answer.
No, see, subjective and objective are objective type questions are you cannot say these are objective type questions are quantitative.
Yes, sir.
Logical.
Logic.
0 or 1.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So in subjective type questions, these are open-ended questions. So that's why I asked. I have shown you the rubrics. No, always you have to follow a rubrics and mark scheme. So if you follow a rubrics and mark scheme, then that will allow you to give appropriate
please tell 2 lines about rubric.
A rubric is a list of parameters or characteristics that you fix for evaluating. So
Okay,
rubric. So these are the things that are to be included in the answer. So an open-ended questions so may have a rubrics that okay, this is the learning objective I fixed for this content that I delivered. So this question should have an answer where the answer should contain this. The answer should be of 100 words. That may be one parametric value of the rubric. The answer should contain, answer must contain these keywords. The answer must contain this, that. So likewise is a list of parameters or characteristics. So that is what we do.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So anyone else?
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, sir. Sir, myself, Dept, I'm calling from Henry Girls College. So, sir, first of all, thank you very much for this nice lecture. It was very informative and we have learned a lot. And, sir, I want one advice from you that all of a sudden, means everything has been changed. So if we have to continue the online system of learning, teaching and learning with the HS students, particularly HS students, higher secondary students, from the context of Assam context, so what will be your suggestions, sir, that synchronous or asynchronous mode of learning, which one will be better, sir, for targeting our HS students, particularly from the point of view of Assam context?
Okay, so Dipjyoti, it should be a blended because only asynchronous will not develop a one-to-one relationship between the teacher and the student. If it is asynchronous, there may not be any relationship between the teacher and the student. Student may not feel the presence of teacher. So that's why in one of the slides I have given the characteristics that be present. Your frequent interaction with the students, that is also required because in classroom, in say you consider the classroom, you consider your college. In your college, students are there from 9 to 4 or 5 and students are there with the teachers. So that is an environment. So you have to simulate that environment. So it should be synchronous and asynchronous both, because only synchronous there will be technical problems, and only asynchronous there will be relationship problem. So synchronous and asynchronous both, because only synchronous there will be technical problem. Every time the students may not be able to have the bandwidth. So you have to avail the resources in a server. you have to circulate the emails, you have to put discussion forums, you have to put videos in YouTube, even you have to put the WhatsApp groups. So students at their own pace, students at their own, with their own facility, with their own convenience, they have to have the say accessibility. So asynchronous and also very frequent synchronous sessions.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
So I think there is no question.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Jonali.
Yes, sir. I'm Dr. Jonali Saikia Borkakoti from NN Saikia College. Sir, thank you very much for your wonderful talk and information. Sir, I want to know